Hello and welcome.
That should be my intro. I'll just like awkwardly sit here for a second and I'll be like, welcome. This is the last image. Oh, I kind of like that actually. Holy crap. Hooray for bloopers, right? Am I right? Anyway, guys, my camera doesn't work, or it does work, but I was not prepared. I didn't even charge my batteries for it. Right now I'm charging a battery for my camera, but so that's why you can't see me on the screen, but that's alright because pretty much everything is gonna be here on my laptop screen. Here I'm about to do or not necessarily do just for like the fun of it, but pretty much explain to you the power of the tone curve. How the tone curve is like super powerful. I guess that's what the title is like trying to say. Anyway, here we have a photo of my feet, my J's, my Jordans. You can't see here, but they're in real life, they're actually dirty as hell. But that's alright. The main focus here is the water and the rocks and whatever, right? It's a nice photo. It looks kind of moody, straight out the camera, no edits whatsoever. Pretty much on my camera, if you're curious, on my camera I have everything set to -4, or like the lowest setting as far as contrast. It lets me go all the way down to -4, sharpness -4, saturation -4, I believe, and then the tint is on the same menu list, or whatever you want to call it. The tint, I pretty much leave it right in the middle. Pretty much everything on my camera is set to the lowest settings, and it always gives me this regular moody feel to my photos. Even the sunny ones, they feel a bit desaturated and like they need some sort of contrast to be added. But anyway, just so I can stay sane by looking at this, I'm gonna add the generic Instagram edit to this, you know, what everyone on Instagram is doing. So I'm gonna like over exaggerate all these colors right here, and I'm gonna desaturate some of these. This one is the one that I desaturate the most, the green primary. Not so much these, but I do anyway, just a tiny bit, something like that. And then what I do is, you don't have to do this that I'm doing, I'm just trying to stay sane by looking at this photo in particular. I always desaturate the hell out of aqua, quite a bit on the blues. I go towards the purple just to kind of give it balance out the blues once more, just to make sure. Yep, that's where I want it to be. There's no greens here, but whatever. Here is what I would do on tone curve in just about any photo that I edit. Alright, the first thing is not touch it. Haha, gotcha. That's right, I don't touch this, but rather I touch the red one. Why does it sound kinky when I say it? Damn it, damn it. Don't say it. Don't say it, image. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of you can do this like in two ways, and I always do it like the faster way, just because it's like it's pretty close to the perfect way anyway. What I do is I do some sort of subtle S on these three right here, the red, green, and blue, right? So right now we have the red selected, and I just do a really low point curve. What do you call these? Point curve. Yeah, I got it right. A point curve on the shadow side of the tone curve. So really low. I mean, like, well, not super low, but that's pretty good, right? You can either do this by just looking at the curve, or you can actually copy the numbers. Oh man, I'm gonna zoom in on the numbers that I'm talking about. You see the percentage? That's pretty much the what would you call it, like the coordinates of where that dot is. You can pretty much like write those down or memorize them, you know what I mean? I like to work fast, and my mouse is not like the best, so I just kind of like go back and forth. By the way, you make this, I usually make this S looking thing exactly the way it is. So most of the line is above the dashed line right here. About 3/4 on the way down, I start to like go down or go past the dash line. So pretty much what I do is kind of memorize how the dots look, and then I go to the green, and then I try to do this exact same thing. And then I said about 3/4. Doesn't have to be exact, but something like that. I go back to the red and see if I got it pretty close, and I almost did. This dot was way off. Sorry. Okay, that's pretty close, right? I don't want to take up too much time. Time is valuable, like I said, so I'm just gonna kind of like speed through this a little bit. Wow, I feel like the blue one I just really screwed up. Like, what did I even do here? I feel like something like that. And I just go back to the original one, which was red. I go back to the blue. I go back to the red. I go back to the blue, and I keep looking where I mess up. And as you're doing this, look at the image and just see if it's lacking a color. I'm pretty satisfied with where I am right now. So as you can see, it's very contrasty, right? It's super contrasty. But here's why I do this. It's like if you do the same thing for these 3 colors, you technically have 2 RGB tone curves. So once I mess around with this one, it's gonna add contrast like crazy, right? It's like, why would you even do this? Why would I even do this, right? But it's crucial. It's not crucial. It's pretty much what my style represents here. So what I do is I lift what you would do for a fade, moody feel to the photo. I would do this, and as you can see, you can't even see a fade in the blacks because these 3 tone curves are already affecting that. So it's very hard for Lightroom to actually add a faded feel to the blacks. But what it ends up doing is that it adds it's kind of hard to explain, but it's like a quick yet smooth transition between white and black. And you will see this a lot in modern wedding photography. So if you follow people like I don't know, it's harder to give an example. Man, there's so many people I can't even think of. Let's think like India Earl or Phil Chester or Sarah Byrne or oh man, there's so many. What is her name? Annie Graham or something like that. I'm pretty sure they do this exact thing, right? You know, have the same exact tone curve and then mess around with this main one. And they do like a really exaggerated S looking thing. It's like, it depends on how smooth they want it to look or whatever. But this is pretty much the idea right here. Like I said, I have a really stupid mouse. This mouse sucks. I need to buy a new mouse. Give me a second here, guys. Oh, maybe that was too much. Yeah, something like that. Something like that, boy. Something like that. That's kind of how I would do it. Now you're like, what the heck is this? Like, what is so appealing about this? It's like super contrasty. Like, why would I even want to post this on Instagram or have it on my portfolio? Well, we're not done yet. Although that was the most important thing to do, we kind of have to fix the contrast with the sliders. It would be nice to just do it all in the tone curve without messing around with the sliders, but we all like messing with sliders anyway. So what I would do is reduce the highlights. That already gives like a lot of detail on the highlights, right? That's like crazy. And then add some detail to the shadows. Shadows. Why did I say that? Shadows. Like, look at that. Like, we didn't even touch the clarity slider, and that's like intensely detailed. Lower the whites just a tiny bit. That's what I usually like to do. I don't like to go all the way down or anything like that. I just do it just a tiny bit. And then, as for the blacks, I go down tiny bit most of the time. Sometimes, if the photo is too dark, I do bring it up a little bit. But for this one, I don't mind it being on the negative side of the slider. And the contrast slider is probably the most important one, because that pretty much softens the whole photo, so to speak. And there we go. You can just press up and down on your keyboard to add more contrast or less contrast. And so I think I'm pretty happy there. We're going to desaturate the photo just a tiny bit. I usually go between 10 and 20. This one can, I don't even know where I want it. Yeah, negative 20 is fine. I'm a big fan of green tint. I'm gonna mess around with these a little bit more. I feel like I need more color on the rocks, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. What we do now is copy. So we're gonna copy these edits right here. Make sure that, here, I'll do it again. Make sure that when you copy, white balance and exposure are not checked. We go ahead and copy. Oh my gosh, I had a burp again. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. We go to a different image that I took, a different photo, and then we press. We go ahead and click paste, and then it looks like it needs a little bit of editing, right? Like, not a lot changed. We're gonna go with before and then after. I mean, the rocks did a little bit. The rocks changed a little bit. What I would do, I think, is add a little bit of cold temperature on this bill. Yeah, something like that. Make it look like it really is winter, right? And I feel like that way we can get more detail on the branches and stuff like that. Maybe go to the contrast slider and add a tiny bit of contrast. Wow, look at that. Look at that water just popped. I mean, look, before, wow, it looks boring, right? It looks disgusting. And then after, like, literally, I can just save this as a preset. I love this preset already. Create preset. We're gonna go to my personal, and then we'll just name it winter, I guess. No, actually, it looks like it's been complementing water quite a bit, so we'll just name it water. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, even if it wasn't a tone curve. What would you call it? A tone curve technique. Maybe you learned something that I didn't even mean to teach you or whatever. So, once again, thank you so much. Farewell.